First, okay, are we like ordering them like left to right, like left being best, right being worst?
Yes, like, yeah, left being best, so then it's like
Um,
that. But they're all high grounds.
I'm gonna do something that's... Oh, I don't know if I want to, actually. I'm considering putting Return of the Jedi in Ben Swallow.
I wouldn't blame you.
Because it's not a bad movie, but, like, I can't put everything in high ground.
That's a good point.
I think it isn't on the same level. If I'm comparing them, it's just not there. Like, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, literally, like, best movies of all time in my mind. Return of the Jedi is good, but, like...
Wait, so I'm trying to see who directed it. Because Richard Marquand. He was like a dodgy director.
Though, now, like, I'm thinking of, like, the whole ending bit, like, with Luke on the Death Star and whatnot. Like, it's...
Yeah, that's why it kind of goes up in the high ground.
Can we have a Ben Swallow 0.5? It's gone there. I'm done. I'm happy.
Let's see, Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. I'm gonna
chuck him into Jar Jar Binks.
I reckon it's either Qui-Gon Jinn or Jar Jar Binks. I'm thinking. Like, I'm trying to think. Because it is like an average movie for me. It's like an average movie. But... yeah, I'll put it in Jar Jar Binks for now.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, Jar Jar Binks.
Attack of the Clones is going Holdo for me. Well, actually, I actually rewatched Attack of the Clones recently. And I thought it wasn't as bad as I used to think.
Exact. The prequels, the more I watch them, the better they get. The sequels, the more I watch them, the worse they get.
Yeah, that's the exact same with me.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
I reckon, as well, like, on the same level, I think Attack of the Clones is going to go above Phantom Menace for me. My problem with Phantom Menace is that it's boring. I'm bored when watching Phantom Menace. It's just not exciting. In Attack of the Clones, I cringe when watching Attack of the Clones. I don't know which I like more and which I like less. I think I'm growing, like, immune. Like, I'm just, like, getting used to all the crap that's in Attack of the Clones every time I watch it, and, like, it just doesn't faze me as much, whereas Phantom Menace is just always going to be boring for me.
Well, the thing with Attack of the Clones is I watched, that Seamus Gorman video, and he pointed out he reckons it just goes in a completely different direction than the Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace got a kind of underwhelming response from cinema goers at the time. I feel like they felt the need to change the entire storyline going into the next film.
Which is why it's kind of seen as an anthology film. And there's I know you definitely think, but they abandoned the Darth Jar Jar plotline. Dooku kind of just comes out of nowhere. And especially the Fallen Jedi storyline. It's like, you gotta show him as a Jedi if you're gonna point out that they're a fallen Jedi.
So yeah, Revenge of the Sith. I think this one is an easy high ground for me.
Alright, I'm chucking Ben Swallow, because otherwise it's gonna be mostly high ground.
I think this is the last movie that's going in high ground.
Oh yeah, there'll be no more.
Oh, now you're tempting me, eh? Because, like, I know I'm going to put Clone Wars in high ground. I know I'm going to put Mandalorian in high ground. Yeah, it's going to go top. It's going to top Ben Swallow. I feel like Revenge of the Sith is one of those picks that, like, doesn't need justification. Like, it is just that good.
There's lots of flaws, but it's also just so good.
What flaws are you referring to?
Like, dialogue.
You're so beautiful.
It's only because I'm so in love.
I think there's a couple pacing issues.
Compared to Attack of the Clones, the dialogue is... mwah, to be honest.
Revenge of the Sith, it's more of a laughing with than laughing at.
Not to worry, we are still flying half a ship.
I'm gonna shut my window a bit so there aren't crickets in my audio. Then are we going on to the Clone Wars movie? I'm leaning towards Qui-Gon Jinn. Either Qui-Gon Jinn or top Jar Jar Binks. But
so yeah, you think it's above the prequels?
I think it's above the first two. May just be nostalgia talking, because full disclaimer, I grew up watching the Clone Wars movie in the first 5 seasons of Clone Wars, so they are very fond to me. Like, I love them to bits. So that's probably going to affect where I put them a bit.
For me, I don't know if it's because I'm sort of combining Clone Wars and Clone Wars. Though it's hard to forget you're just not watching a long TV episode.
Well, that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
It was like the first one was, I think, meant to be the pilot, and then the next 3 were taken from a later arc. And they just literally edited them together into a movie. It was just 4 episodes put into a movie.
Yeah. Without the Clone Wars, I can see why everyone would say that Ahsoka's just really annoying.
Get this thing moving!
But it's like, because I've seen Clone Wars, it's like, geez, Commander, but then if I hadn't seen it, it'll be like, what is this bitch doing here? I think I'm gonna do a high Jar Jar Binks. Okay, well, Clone Wars TV show.
Clone Wars TV show. Now, for me, the thing with the Clone Wars show isn't which rank to put it, it's whether it's going... I could completely invalidate my opinion with one fell swoop and make everybody hate me. But I'm low-key tempted to do it. I'm thinking I'm putting Clone Wars above A New Hope. For me, like, as I said, like, I've got a lot of bias. I grew up with this show. Some people say, like, oh, I grew up with the originals. Oh, I grew up with the prequels. Freaking bitch, I grew up with the Clone Wars. It's my Star Wars, really, so it's... I don't know. I think it just has to go there for me.
For me, it's so hit or miss, though. There are some dud episodes.
So I'm the sort of person
That
to just look at a show's highs and ignore the lows.
Yeah. It's going near Revenge of the Sith, but above or below, I don't know. Part of me wants to go above, because again, it's... The Clone Wars is what really makes the prequels what they are.
Yeah, the Clone Wars really fleshed the shit out of, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan, and obviously added Ahsoka. I don't know if that really contributes, though. It really makes Anakin's fall to the dark side so much better as well.
Yes!
It adds so much more weight to it, because you see, like, in like, how Obi-Wan was saying in A New Hope, like, oh, Anakin, he was a good friend, and then, like, in the movies, he's an asshole, and then turns to the dark side. But in the show, he's actually just a really cool guy, and you see them getting along a lot more. It's like Ahsoka leaving the council, like, you see Palpatine's manipulation, you see why he has such a firm hold on him, you see all this stuff that just really adds to it and just adds so much value to his fall to the dark side.
Well, firstly, the Clone Wars shows how dumb the council is. Like, Palpatine was bloody obvious. Not as, like, what the audience sees. The stuff that the council's discussing. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's going above. Like, Clone Wars, like, I think I messaged you while watching, I'm like, this really makes his fall to the dark so much sadder. Because we really see how, like, he was a Jedi. Oh, Rebels.
Rebels. This one is a very difficult one for me. You know how I said I look at a show and I just look at its highs? That's not the case for Rebels. For Rebels, I do see a lot of the lows.
The lows weren't as low as Clone Wars.
Lows weren't, but there was a lot more lows, in my opinion.
It really just has the Malachor going for it.
It's higher than Clone Wars movie. I know that for certain. So it's either Senate or High Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm not sure.
I'll kind of want to Ben Swallow it.
It's the Senate. Yeah, it's the Senate for me.
Well, actually, I've got Mando. Yeah, I've got to go. Yeah, the Senate.
Like, it's a pretty self-explanatory sort of placing, I think. Like, anyone that's seen Rebels, I feel like, has the same opinion of it.
I think season 1 was good because I find a contained story always works for a first season, but after that, you've got to do some shit with it.
I think each season, like, was good in isolation, really. Like, season 1, as you said, was, like, just a good little isolated story, and season 2 was kind of widening it, and, like, a bit more of the rebellion coming together.
It didn't do it. I don't think it did enough widening. Like, we had Malachor, and that was it. That was the shit I was looking forward to from the start.
In season 3, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Oh, I love Grand Admiral Thrawn so much. Maul was also epic, though.
And then season 4 was just... I didn't like season 4.
Really? I liked season 4.
Thrawn was the only good thing about those last 2.
But also, like, Thrawn really only means so much to me because I'm a Legends junkie now.
I've never read any Legends, and Thrawn was just so epic.
Okay, I'm gonna go on full tangent. You can cut this if you wanna. Guess who's editing the video? Guess who's editing the bloody video? And I'm a registered sex offender. Essentially the first major EU works after Return of the Jedi ended. Like, there was a few bits here and there, but then in the, 1991, I think it was, the Thrawn trilogy was released, which is a trilogy of books with Grand Admiral Thrawn's the villain, and it takes place after Return of the Jedi. It's essentially the Legends sequel trilogy. It's what people are always comparing to whenever they're shitting on the sequels, and, like, the Legends version was so much better.
Good segue to the canon sequel trilogy.
So the Force Awakens, the whole of my sequel placings are just going to be so radically different to what I had like a year ago, because a year ago I hadn't read Legends. Like, I used to like the Force Awakens, but now I look at it and I just get so pissed off at everything that they did, like killing off the New Republic so quick. It's that's the main thing, really. That really bugs me, that they killed off the New Republic instantly. There was so much wasted potential.
Well, they're just trying to rehash A New Hope.
This is the most difficult thing I've ever had to do, is place Force Awakens, because I'm trying to look at it in isolation, like just without Legends in mind. I think it's gonna be low Senate for me, like above Clone Wars movie, below Rebels.
Yeah, I was thinking right behind Rebels. Yeah, low Senate.
And I don't really have much to say about it either. Characters were decent. I don't hate Rey. A lot of people hate Rey. I don't hate Rey.
She just doesn't have a character.
Every time I rewatch it, I'm slowly buying into, like, the argument that, oh, Rey, she's so perfect at everything, blah, 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 blah. She is pretty good at everything. Yeah. She doesn't have flaws. That never used to bug me, but just, as like you said earlier, with, like, the prequels, every time you watch them, they get better. And the sequels, every time you watch them, they get worse.
Let's go Rogue One.
Rogue One. It's Qui-Gon Jinn for me, but whether it's high, I think it's high Qui-Gon Jinn.
Chuck it as a low Ben Swallow. Yeah, it's great.
It's one of those movies, like, I'm bored watching it. Like, I just don't enjoy it.
For me, it was the first time I watched it, I didn't really like it, but the second time, it just shot up so much.
It has a good last act. I love the final act. That's all brilliant. It would probably help if I managed to sit through it one whole time again. I keep getting halfway through and then I'm just done. Shit, I'm just realizing, I'm looking at this, I don't think anything's going in Holdo for me.
I'm gonna have some Holdos, which is The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Well, it has Admiral Holdo. It goes in Admiral Holdo.
Now I'm just thinking about it. Like Luke, the wasted potential, he was so amazing in Legends. But here, he's just so terrible. But I used to like him in this. I used to not give a rat's ass about all the complaints people had. But now I've just straight up joined them. Like, Luke is just... He's just, screw it, it's going Holdo. Last Jedi's going Holdo.
Yeah.
Canto Bite. That sequence, I hated. It was just boring and lame and all other words. Also, a little side tangent, something that really pisses me off about how Rian Johnson was like, yo, Luke never wanted to be found. If Luke never wanted to be found, why did he leave a map? The sequels fell so hard because of the lack of direction.
But yeah, it's the big thing, like, if Rian Johnson directed Rise of Skywalker, I think it would have been better.
Honestly,
or if JJ did the whole way through. But then, it's not even that, they just needed someone to oversee it, like... The original trilogy was directed by 3 different directors, but George Lucas oversaw it. I think Kathleen Kennedy must have overseen the sequels.
Oh, Kathleen Kennedy!
Solo!
Lemon Solo.
I'm tempted to put it as an Admiral Holdo.
It's not Holdo for me. It's definitely... I think it's on par with Rogue One. Slightly better than Rogue One because of the fan service. The fan service gets to me.
No, screw it. Admiral Holdo, I'm sorry, Solo.
Solo, I did enjoy Solo. It was by the books, is my biggest gripe with it. It was so by the books. Like, it was like a check. It was like you could have gone in with a bingo sheet, right? Like, Han gambles with... Han plays Sabacc with Lando. Han wins Falcon off Lando. Han and Chewie meet. Han does the Kessel Run. So on and so forth.
For me, it's how you describe Rogue One. It was just boring.
It's because, like, I like the character. Like, the character of Han Solo. He carries it for me. And I think they did a really good job with the casting as well. Like, I feel like Han was rightly cast, Lando was rightly cast. Like, for what it was, it had a lot going for it.
Personally, it's just hard to see Han Solo not as Harrison Ford.
It's a bit of a guilty pleasure, I suppose. Like, I feel like it's bad, but I enjoy it.
I think I might have to promote it to a Jar Jar Binks. Mando
is straight high ground. It is bottom.
High ground.
It's bottom of high ground, but it's high ground.
See, I'm also confused where to put Mando. It's about comparing it to Clone Wars. I enjoyed it more than Clone Wars. It's going above. I think their highs are similar, but Clone Wars it's got the lows. Yeah, it's high Ben Swallow for me.
I don't think really anything needs to be said with Mandalorian. Like, it's all been said, or everyone's heard. Like, it's an amazing show. It's just good.
It reunited the Star Wars fan base. Like, everyone was torn, and then Mando comes out, and everyone's just like, good show. Like, even non-Star Wars fans were like, good show.
Top shit. But, like, it just does everything right. Like, I think it really nails the Star Wars universe. You see, the whole thing where, like, I'm going about how they wasted the New Republic and whatnot, and, like, that they wasted the post-Return of the Jedi era. Mandalorian doesn't. It does it right. But, like, you know, like, I love the characters, I love all the settings, I love all the plots. Like, even the filler episodes are just great episodes. And, you know, it has Baby Yoda in it, so...
I really want to see a prequel trilogy from Grogu's perspective.
I reckon not, like, anything, like, too extravagant. Like, maybe just, like, some flashbacks.
Or I just want to see, like, what he was doing during the prequels. And it's probably boring. It's probably just having, like, training.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker.
My opinions on this have changed drastically. I used to love it. I used to think it was top shit movie.
Yep. I think we're on the same page here.
But every time I watch it, I notice just more and more flaws. I always notice the flaws, but they bug me more and more. I just realized at the moment, my tier list, it looks like an F. If I put this there, it's like just an F. And this there. F. No, I can't. Oh, well, okay, well, that's just there now. It's, I think, above the Clone Wars. I think it might be Qui-Gon Jinn rank.
Above the Clone Wars!
Movie. Above Clone Wars movie.
Oh.
It's above Solo, I think.
All I know is it's below Force Awakens.
I think I'm pairing Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, with Rise of Skywalker being below Force Awakens.
I know, I used to put them, like, very close, but I don't know, I still haven't watched it since. It's just, I just think it's not as good as I remember.
You know how married couples at first, like, they know each other's flaws, but it doesn't really bug them that much. They can get over it. But then as they live with each other over the years and years, you have to deal with those flaws every single day, and they just become so annoying.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my relationship with Rise of Skywalker. Like, Palpatine coming out of the blue, Rey and Kylo, you know, doesn't really need to be said. Just the pacing is really off. The Chewie death fake out, I hate.
Oh, the death fake outs. Yeah, it's secured below Clone Wars movie.
But one thing that's never bugged me that bugs everyone else is the fact that Rey calls herself a Skywalker. I have no issue. I take no issue with that, to be honest. And also, it had a lot of random characters introduced, like Poe's girlfriend chick, whatever she was, and then, like, the other ex-Stormtrooper chick that, like, Finn became friends with. Those characters just felt weird and out of nowhere.
Lando Calrissian was not done justice.
And then also, Force healing. I never used to dislike Force healing, because, like, I've been exposed to it everywhere, like, it's always been a thing. It does feel like a terrible plot device. Like, if Force healing was there, why wasn't it always used? My theory regarding that is that like Rey learnt it from like the Jedi texts, and that it was a known Force ability, but then it was just lost in time. I think that makes perfect sense, but still. Also, Leia's death was really weird. It kind of had to be, because Carrie Fisher wasn't really around to film stuff, so they had to work around the footage they already had.
Yeah, they said it wouldn't be out of place, but it was. It was just like at the start, all the generic lines. It was like Yoda makes more sense than this.
So Bad Batch, I'm gonna go ahead and place Bad Batch. Bad Batch for me is probably above Rebels, but only just. So it's just getting the top of the Senate for me. It's a good show. I love the characters. They really grow on you after a while. They waste Echo, though. Echo was dicked over. It's really interesting seeing, like, post-Order 66, like, what happened with the clones, like, their story being phased out for, out of the Republic, and had a lot of filler. But the major progression episodes were just amazing. If it was just all that, it would be Ben Swallow, but because there was so much filler, like, every single week, it was like, another little filler episode, bang my head against the wall. That's why it's been dragged down to the Senate.
So yeah, I haven't seen it, and I'll tell you why. So you've got the Bad Batch in season 7, and yeah, it just didn't sell me on watching a whole show about these characters. Like, they just were not interesting characters at all. Also, their existence is just confusing. Echo joined, but then, as Gel said, he's just not used. I'm like, that was almost selling me on watching it. Like, I just don't see how these characters can carry an episode.